And you're watching StudyIQ IAS English. So we are going to discuss about the essay paper which has come today, and I just hope most of you would have seen the paper, read it. So in a very brief way we'll be discussing about it, but more or less why I'm taking this session is something you feel a kind of happiness and contentment when your team works hard, when people who work behind the scenes, they develop something, they do something which comes directly in the examination, and if not directly is something that is a uh, accident, I would say, but still, something matching to that, it comes in your paper. So I'll be discussing that. So all those people who are live at the present moment, please very quickly mark your attendance. I'd love to know that what you feel about the paper, how was the paper, about what you think, what was the toughness level, and what you think, like what could be a possible better score in this paper. So anyone, whomsoever, all of you who have joined, just very quickly you can start now with the comments. I'll be more than happy to read your comments. So meanwhile, let's get started. For those who have not seen the paper, for them I'll be just taking you very quickly, through the paper, what has come this year and what I feel about the essay this year. So all those people, yes, please mark your attendance. Let's see what your opinion is on the paper. So how was the paper, my dear friends? Okay, Rishi Pandey is as usual with us. So hello Rishi, how did you find the paper? Hi Rishi, I'm all good, all good. So let's get started. So the very first question, which was truth knows no color. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Thought finds a world and creates one also. Best lessons are learned through bitter experiences. Then then section B, muddy water is best clear by living it all alone. I will just enlarge it so that most of you can have a look at it. So if it's visible, just let me know. If it's not, I'll just try to realign it. Okay, so next one is muddy water is best clear by living it alone. The years teach much, which the days never know. It is best to see life as a journey, not as a destination. And the last essay was contentment is a natural wealth, life is artificial poverty. Now, if as a layman I have to see this essay, I would suggest that means any of these 8 topics, there wasn't anything technical where you cannot fit in or you cannot write anything. There's always a scope to write something. And just to tell you the reason for taking this essay, these essays have come from the essay paper from the MRP, that means residential program, which carry out many questions have come relating to that I'll show you. But before that, our team has prepared a essay document that you can use for your reference to know how to approach the essay. This PDF I'll be providing you the comment. For example, let's say what approach they have taken. For example, let's take the very first essay, truth knows no color. So you can interpret it in many ways. This is one of the approach they have taken, one of the examples, one of the stories that you may write or you might write. Now, for example, if I have to interpret this thing, truth knows no color. So there are 2 fundamental factors here. One is the truth and the second one is no color. So ideally, truth has to be alike for each and everyone. This is something, this is the message that I'd be taking. Now the team has given various interpretations. For example, Gandhi's Satyagraha, Galileo Galilei, when he stood that its sun that is in the center of the solar system. Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream. So Nelson Mandela, these are the examples that they have taken, and then they have given an approach how you can take it, what is universal truth, and then all these things that they have taken for this essay. Now, can truth be non-universal, or can truth, the interesting part in this essay would be if you can compare or you can write. For example, let's, for the debating purpose, if I tell you like, can truth have different variants? Like one thing is, you know, uh, people are perceiving one thing in one way and the same thing in another way by a group of people. Now, for example, let's make it very clear. I mean, like the Mahabharat war was fought. On one side there were Kauravas, on the other side there were Pandavas. Now both of them were fighting for justice. Both of them thought, or both of them had it in their mind or had it in their ego, or the whole base was that we are correct, what is happening to us is wrong and we are going to fight for it. So now this presents a very, very good paradox. Like same thing, the same statement or the same situation is seen in two different contradicting ways by two different parties. Now, still, would you say that truth has no color? I'll still say yes, because the fundamental base for any argument, it will remain what is the unit thing that is telling. For example, each and everything has a core. If I ask you, like in today's society, when things are binary, for example, let's take my case, me and you, should I be discussing anything that is controversial with you? I would say certainly. But at the same time, there is a matter of truth in each and everything that should not be, changed. For example, let's say we are talking about, let's say one truth, like let's say we are talking about the Ram Janmabhoomi. So can there be, should the temple be rebuilt again? Or, this is harming the disharmony. For example, one side is having the point of view, like we are here, so we would be here. The other side is having a perspective that we were here earlier, so this place belongs to us. Now, this is a very controversial matter. What you are going to say? Is your truth going to change? So here, if I have to give a way forward, it would be like when there are temples of faith, the temples of faith should ideally belong to people who are having it. But at the same time, I'll also say that such issues should not be taken up just to incite the public, just for political mileage. So always, whenever you are having a paradox where a truth is seen or perceived in different manner by two parties, if we'll reach to the fundamental core, you'll find there is one and only one truth. So, for example, the Mahabharat example which I took earlier, you can say like the way or how the war was fought, at each and every point, the Kauravas made the wrong choice. Because in the very start, the Pandavas asked for just 5 villages. So when you'll try to find out truth, even in controversial matters, you'll realize that the fundamental core remains the same, and hence you can conclude like this, even after differentiating, that in conclusion, the truth always will have no color, that it will be alike for each and every one. If it is not, then there might be problem, then there could be issues that we might be missing certain points. So this is what makes any essay analytical. So this was just for the first part which I gave you. So likewise for other essays also, you will get something of similar type or of something, this thing. For example, they have given one issue of this climate change denial. It is again very interesting example which the team has quoted, because there is one section which feels that climate change is happening, and there is one segment which feels that there is no issue like climate change. The earth has been for millions and billions of years, it will keep sustaining. So which part is truth? Or if there has to be one truth, what it would be? So the fundamental here, it would be that it could be that the the composition of air, let it be carbon dioxide quantity or the temperature, it might have kept varying across ages for the earth. There was an ice age, there could be flood like situation tomorrow or something. These are the natural things which keep on happening. But at the same time, the kind of pollution which is happening via copper industries, via lithium battery productions, or that we have nuclear disaster. Nobody has given the right to do this. Or for example, the excessive smoke which is coming out. So one thing that is happening via nature or natural calamity on its own, that's altogether different. But that cannot become a pretext for degrading the environment. So here also the truth will have no color, that nature, we all exist due to nature, and there is no reason that why steps should not be taken to protect and preserve it. Now lastly, one more analytical step you can take, that can we really control something which is as big as in the nature? The point would then come, let's say that we cannot control what amount of carbon dioxide would be there in the atmosphere. For example, let's say there is an volcano blast happening somewhere, the sulfur is there in the air, then there is carbon dioxide. What you are going to do? But that does not take away from our responsibilities via environment degradation, which is reaching towards the various segment of the society via which they are not having pure water to drink. Why? All the leather industries, they are pouring their water into the river, or all the sewages which is going into the river. Here the responsibility lies upon us and we cannot stay away from it. So this is how you can always make your essay interesting. Yeah, take points from what the team has written and try to reorganize what you want to do. For example, let me take this thing, then I'll tell you like how our team prepares the essay and how it is going to help you. This one I'll take. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting it. Now, in what way you can take this essay, or in what way you can write it? So here what they have taken, they have written about Mahatma Gandhi, Chanakya, Chandragupta, Cuban Missile, Cold War, Nelson Mandela. These things you'll be studying anyway. Now, if I have to approach this question, if I have to tell that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting it. So, like there is one book that by Sun Tzu has written, that Art of War, where he talks something of this type. So there you can start, like this book is there, where somebody is talking of this thing. Or one very relevant example which has come out, Chanakya, and also like if you read The Prince or the Machiavelli, so the the core or the crux which comes out, like the supreme art of war will always remain, you don't have to fight the enemy, because once you go into any kind of engagement with the enemy, there are going to be the losses, there are going to be collateral damages. The best way is to not fight the war at all. But here you have to mention what you mean by this caveat. This caveat would be, the very first caveat would be, not fighting the war does not mean that you are surrendering. That's the first thing. The second thing is, the best possible scenario for anybody would be who is into a confrontation kind of situation, that your enemy becomes your ally. For example, you'd see that all the Mughals, and during the Mughal times, what they would do, they would form alliances with various different kingdoms in India. So such way has to be your analytical power, that not fighting the war does not mean surrender. Why? Because always, wherever, anyway, there is going to be conflict versus conflict, there are going to be the losses. And then you can also show, like cooperation plus cooperation, it results into victory, and this has to be shown. And this you can take from various examples. For example, they have written about Cuban Missile Crisis, which was averted. Now take it in a very different perspective. Why America and Russia, even after possessing nuclear weapon, so far have not gone for a nuclear war? The right reason for this would be because they know the supreme art of war, that is why they do not fight. On the other hand, let's take example of a counter country which is around us, like Pakistan, which does not understand these basics, like economy is foremost, people's welfare is foremost, your internal situation is foremost. So what it does, like 1 week or the next week, they keep on giving these briefings that we will nuke India, we will use the nuclear weapon first. So here you can also show the maturity as well as what? Who does not understand this warfare kind of game, that thing. Now the next what they have done, what the team has done, they have given historical perspective, political, economic, technological, management, leadership, personal and ethical life, and certain counter arguments they have also given. But what you can associate very beautifully with this is you can bring out the example. For example, the best part about the essay is that it's completely open-ended. It need not to be closed. For example, in this case, the best warfare. So the best warfare, it's not always about the battleground where you are fighting the biggest battles. That is in your mind also. You can also take it from an individual perspective. For example, if I tell you, all those people who are watching me at present, if I call you an idiot, you become enraged. He is calling me an idiot. What a stupid person he is. Let me find his social media handle. I'll tell him like, how dare you to call me stupid. Now, this amount of time that you're wasting to fight a battle with someone like me who is or who has said this virtually to you, your whole day would be wasted, where you could have been productive, you'd not be productive. So just see how beautiful example it is coming. Essay or the topic of essay, it's all about your imagination, how beautifully you can imagine. And this thing you can correlate. For example, somebody telling you that you're not fit enough to prepare for UPSC. The best answer to him would not be by engaging him, by telling him that I've done this, how dare you to tell that this is my freedom, that is my freedom. The person asking you this thing, it could be that he might be worried about you or he might be just having fun with you. In either case, you need not to lose your mental peace. So now one side you see how beautifully this statement works at individual level. Now this same thing you can take at the level of what? You take the example of societies. And societies, it need not like always, it's not necessary to write about all these positive examples. For example, I'll tell you one negative example. The peak of underworld in Bombay. The peak of underworld was in Bombay. When it was there, the gangsters, they stopped fighting amongst themselves. What they did, they divided Mumbai into sections. Like this section belongs to me, that section belongs to you, that section belongs to you. You do your activities there. And that was the peak when they were there. So why? Because they knew the art fair. If they are going to fight amongst themselves, they are going to be what? Reduced in their strength, in their power. So here, even we have used one negative example. Likewise, you can quote about countries, but ultimately, like again, like I said in the previous part, if I have to say the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting it. But this, in conclusion, how you can conclude, this does not mean that you should not be capable enough to fight yourself. Then this statement would not, apply to you. First, you have to become so much powerful. First, you have to have that strength in you. And when you will have that strength, when anybody is going to have that strength, then you'll notice that they will themselves not indulge into these kind of petty things. Same thing goes for a nation. When a nation becomes very powerful, they do not go for war, at least not for traditional wars. They go for diplomatic means, or what? For example, take the example of China. Everybody is fighting war somewhere or the other. China has slowly built itself because it is taking a leaf out of that book, Art of War, that it is not fighting the war. It is indirectly controlling the economy of the other country. It is indirectly influencing the other countries to adopt Mandarin language. So these kind of examples, when you are going to give it in your essay paper, the person would be like, wow, this is amazing. From where this kind of or such kind of perspective is coming in the essay. So I just hope it's very clear. For example, China could be a very prime example for this thing. Like it is fighting the ultimate warfare. Whatever it understands as a historical injustice, it is taking a route where it is not firing a bullet. For example, even in case of Arunachal Pradesh, or on the borders, when you'll study about Indo-China shoulders fighting, you'll not find it's like something with bullets or something. Like the last battle which our soldiers fought very bravely was, they fought it with fist. So they know, the Chinese, who are actually planning for a domination, that such kind of warfare would yield very little thing. Any nation that is indulged into it in perpetuality, it will be there. So did you see how we went? We took an individual's example, individual's life example about his life, about his mind, that how not indulging into petty things, or not every battle is good enough to be fought. Next, we took examples, negative example from the society about the, we took example of the underworld, how not fighting wars help to maintain certain kind of gangsters and the gang lobby for a longer time. Likewise, we came to the traditional example of countries. So from here, again, I'm telling you, you can take examples or take something, and in conclusion, you can write, but this statement does not apply to the weak. This applies to the person who is having strength, and you'll see the person who is having strength is not going to indulge into such things. Now, the next is thought finds a world and creates one also. So I think this one, for especially for the UPSC aspirants who are having amazing abstract ideas, let it be about freedom, let it be about liberty, let it about education, society, or any idea. So there you can quote anything, you can quote anything into the thought finds a world. For example, if I have certain kind of noble thought, I can create a world. And this, traditionally, people have this notion to start from the ancient time. All their essays, they would be starting from the ancient time, that in the ancient time this thing happened or that thing happened. But if I have to proceed, I'll just say, like, like there is something called dark internet or dark web that you can also start with. There is a certain kind of different people with a different thought, and they have made or created a world of their own. This could be true about artists, that could be true about musicians, where they have created a segment niche of their own. There is, somebody trying to say that why there has to be a currency that is regulated by the bank. It was also a thought that was made into a cryptocurrency. Now that is a reality. Now vice versa, it creates one world also, which we are discussing. It could be that what are, the easiest or the biggest examples, the way, things have shaped up. This, for example, it's a thought, like let's have a startup culture, or everybody, let's say tomorrow something comes up that everybody would be entrepreneur amongst themselves. So this is again creating a world for your own sake. So this is again creating a world of your own. So just realize this, a thought finds a world. Let us suppose, this is among, I think this would be the easiest one to write. For example, if I have something like, let's say, I am anti-caste, I do not believe in caste. So I am going to get a world, a people around me supporting the idea that, okay, this person believes that all are equal. So we will be equal and we will be, with him or something like that. Now, at the same time, if there is any idea which is potent enough, like Victor Hugo, he says, nothing is more powerful than something, than an idea whose time has come. If there is any idea whose time has come, it is going to create a world of its own. Let it be in the form of a revolution, let it be by, craving out, different segments of societies, countries, or a new world altogether with a different kind of lifestyle, with a different kind of society. This has happened. So this, I would say, for UPSC aspirants, this would be one of the easiest one. You can write from anywhere to any type. For example, let's say even today, if any one of you gets a new idea about, like the kind of way we perceive marriages. Marriages have been perceived in multiple ways. So there is a distinct society. You can quote, you can give ideas all over the Indias about the from the, you can quote about conjugal marriages, cousin marriages, you can quote about how marriages happen in the tribal system. What was it? It was just an idea, and then it was taken up by certain set of people, and then also a certain kind of tribal society, a certain kind of, a different kind of segments of the societies were created by it. So just imagine how beautifully you can put all these things into your essay. It's just that what thought-provoking thing, something related to the today's context that you can find and write. So that I will say it was one of the easiest, especially for the UPSC aspirants to write, because you have so many things to write and correlate with. Same thing goes with AI. For example, let's say a thought came in someone's mind that, the supreme intelligent being. Now what it is? Who is supreme intelligent being? You all would have seen mythologies on television series in when you would be child. So what was the central idea of all those, television series that you'll be seeing at that time? It would be like, the omni powerful person would be telling everything about you. You'll be, okay, you are coming from here, I can tell you the past, present and the future. Now just imagine that kind of idea came into someone's mind, that artificial intelligence could be fitted in your mobile phone. For example, today you have ChatGPT, Grok. The next version of this would be you scan anything and it will be tagged with the artificial intelligence. It will tell you what thing it is. For example, you go to where? Tanjavur, you go to Tanjavur, you just take the picture of the Brihadeshwar temple and just tell something about this thing to me. Now, whole thing came. So just imagine the idea of supreme power or supreme reality, vesting in the hands of a person. It created a new world of its own. So this was among the easiest thing that you could write, or that you can, get into your essay. Aisha, I'll be providing this essay in your comment section. Okay, so next, let's very quickly move on to the next thing. Best lessons are learned through bitter experiences. Now, here is a preposition that I'll say. Again, these people would have taken different segments, different things like personal, society, politics, economy, legal, international, history, societal, social behavior, synthesis, and all these things they would have taken. Now, you can quote all those things, you can write about this thing, but let me get to the crux of the issue. If you're writing this essay, what would be the crux part of your essay where it has to revolve time and again? Because when you're writing the essay, you cannot leave the theme. For example, best lessons are learned through bitter experiences. Now, I ask you, why best lessons cannot be learned via bitter experiences? Why this statement would this statement not be valid even then? That, great experiences or pleasurable experiences, happiness experiences, why don't they teach you any lessons? What the fact which is there? So if I were to attempt this, I'll decode it at different level. For example, the human psyche. The human psyche is something that has plasticity, that it can change. But the problem is that it does not change on its own. The humans, especially the kind of psychology they have, the kind of nature they have, unless and until they undergo something like pain, the transformation does not come up. And coincidentally, for example, UPSC, I'm telling you from a personal experience, you can start with anything. For example, I don't know how many of you have seen that movie. I'm quoting a very trivial. You might find like, can even this be quoted? Yes, even this be can quoted. For example, all those movies that you'll see, a hero is having a heartbreak. For example, there was one movie where the hero is having a heartbreak because the girl refused to marry with him. And then he goes on to become what? IAS officer. Likewise, there was one more movie with a theme where, rockstar movie I'm talking about, where someone wanted to become, he wanted to become a professional singer, but the singing was not coming. Why? You'd go and ask someone from his college, like, why I cannot be a singer? And that person would tell him, because you don't have pain. So pain is something here. If I have to elaborate the bitter experiences, what we mean by the bitter experiences? Bitter experiences come in the form of pain, and we as humans are more receptive towards pain because it is able to change us better. Why so? You can also point towards the survival instinct of an individual, of a society, of a country in this. You just don't have to stop on this. After you justify why it is not better experiences, why it is bitter experiences only, why bitter experiences? Telling you again, because it can rapidly make you change, or it can make an individual change, because pleasurable experiences are not going to change you. For example, what? Drunkards, or people who drink, or people who smoke excessively. What they're getting? They're getting pleasure from it. So they, even though this is something harmful, but this pleasurable experience is not going to cause them change. Now what happens? One day when the medical report comes that there are issues with the liver, there are issues with the vitamins composition in the body, this is the point where the change happens. Because why? When everything is pleasurable, nobody gives a care. When things become bitter, you start thinking, you start changing. Why? If you will connect it with the perspective of survival, bitter experiences for anything, let it be from any perspective you're writing this, let it be from the perspective of society, from the perspective of an individual, country, or any domain, this is where the change happens. For example, I'll tell you a very beautiful story that you can quote over here. There was one company, Indian company, Micromax. So what they were doing, they were basically assembling, but still say, even you can write this thing in your example. What you can write, the world transformed to this 5G technology. They did not change. That was a bitter experience for them. Why? Till then there was 2G, 3G. They were enjoying that. I mean 4G technology when that came. Let me please note down the correction. So in 2G, 3G segment, they had this, the pricing would give them advantage, but they would not change. Same thing goes for Nokia. Android came, mobile shifted to Nokia, and Nokia shifted to this Symbian with Microsoft. This was a painful, bitter example. This makes you change your, thought process, your whole ideology itself. But here you can also tell at certain time, if bitter experiences are not making you change, it could be that you might not be there tomorrow to make the changes. So this is how you make your essay more relevant, more attractive. He will see, okay, this person can think from all the perspectives. There have been companies. Now there are MNCs which have got shut down, who were not prone to change. There's a saying that paranoid wins. You can quote something related to this. Best lessons are learned through bitter experiences. Why? Because paranoid wins. Because he is afraid of that bitter experiences. Societies which are more driven by the fear that there would be a failure of the society and the system, they fare far more better. So this is how you can make your essay more holistic and more interesting. Now, let's very quickly move to the next thing. And remember, I'm giving you all out of the box ideas. Like for something like that, you'll be getting in books, that you'll be getting in this in this PDF also. I'm not giving you these ideas or these examples. These are something out of the box. Why? Because I want to teach you how to think. In essay, all that matters is imagination and visualization. Anyone who cannot imagine or visualize, you are not going to perform good in your essay. Now, next part is, muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Now, the very first part which becomes is in decoding what the title has been. Now, for example, muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. So if I tell you like there is a muddy water and if you leave it alone, is it going to change? Is it going to change? If on anything there is no action and reaction is happening, how it is going to change? This itself can become a thoughtful introduction for your essay, that how can you or how can we surmise on this? But you have to go on. But if we think at a deeper level, this statement looks to be true. muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Why? There is in any ecosystem, if you leave that thing, it goes through this, three stages: thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Or you can say there is construction, deconstruction, and then reconstruction. So if you are going to leave anything, let it be, we are talking about environment ourselves in the essay part. So if you are going to leave the environment alone itself, it is going to take feedback and it is going to take corrections. Now, for example, I'll tell you, especially if you see sports, what happens is that in 1 year, the team that wins the Football World Cup, the next year, or in the next World Cup, what happens is that there are high chances of that team getting kicked out in the very initial stages. Why is it so? Because everything follows this pattern. Leaving it alone does not mean that it is undergoing any kind of inactivity. It's best that that ecosystem, that individual, or whatever example, let's say, of any society you are taking. For example, let's say, in India, especially in the context of societies, there used to be societies, or there used to be segment who used to do robbery only. They were known as robbers, or dakat, or there was this movie, Pan Singh Tomar or something, like he says Bagi, I'm a rebel, I'm not a dakat or something like that. So anyway, coming back to this topic, the idea was that in India there were certain segments, or there were certain societies which were known by doing something, or by in a negative way, let me take it. But what happened when they were left alone, there was no external pressure applied to them, they itself had that thing that we have to actualize ourselves, we have to correct ourselves. Now the main thing is, you got the theme, or you got the crux of this part. Now you have to justify your stance, why muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Why not to just go and clear it by any external means? Here, if you'll write this line, I'm telling you, it will going to give goosebumps to the examiner. If you are making anything via external changes, if you're making anything via external changes, that change never persists for last. For example, if in today's lecture, I'm going to give you the injections of what? Motivation, or happiness, or something. Next day, you are going to again get back to your regressive behavior patterns. But instead, if you are left alone, you will have a thought, what I'm doing with my life? I need to actualize myself. I need to do something. I need to find the greatness. I need to find the purpose of my life. The muddy water that was there, it will be cleansed on its own. And given that the changes are happening from within, those changes are going to persist. So this, I believe, this could be a very great skeleton for this topic. So I just hope you're getting the idea how to make your essay interesting. These are the points that if you're going to put, the examiner is going to enjoy reading it, and he is going to give you marks like anything. So very quickly, do you want me to continue, or just let me show you for what I came? I just drifted away. I just came to show you like how come our sectional papers that we give, they come in the examination paper. So anyway, essay is always interesting. Let me see if anything interesting comes. The years teach much, which the days never know. So again, like I think like most of you will be watching, you'll be able to know the first thing is how you decode it. Second thing is take an open interpretation of the essay. The third thing is find the dimensions, what various dimensions, examples, or impactful things you can connect with. So anyway, my dear friends, this I'll be stopping here because it's already great amount of time. But if you want, I can continue this series for you. These essays in different domains or something like that. I just came to show you this thing after telling you all these things, that we also give essays for our student who are with us, or in general, if you want it, I don't have any issues. I can get all these essays bulk uploaded for you. But these essays that we give for practice, these correlate with something that is coming in the UPSC itself. For example, to tell you, I will not take credit for something that is verbatim, that okay, we gave this and this exactly came, but the pattern is lot or more same. For example, this was given MRP, which is Mains Residential Program, which we conduct in ORN. For example, this was given, the pursuit of truth is the noblest rebellion. So truth knows no color. So it's not verbatim or it's same. Uh, there could be other essays or, in any book or something, verbatim line would also be there. But my idea is the kind of practice our student get, this is more or less similar on the lines of this thing. And likewise, there was this UPSC 2025 this year's essay, life is best to see life as a journey, not as a destination. So in MRP this year, that is Mains Residential Program, they gave this statement, life isn't about finding yourself, life is about creating yourself. So the thought process, it's more about teaching or knowing the thought process. Anyway, so all of you who joined me in this session, thanks a lot. I really enjoyed, especially telling you all these, nitty-gritties of this thing. If you want these essays to be taken the way I have taken, just let me know in the comment box. I'll just ensure that these essays are covered, one essay after the other. Another thing also, this PDF, the sample PDF that where essays of this year 2025 have been solved would be provided you in the comment section. So in the end, I would just love to know, like all those people who were here with me for almost like 1 hour, what was your experience? How did you find what all things I told you? Just you can let me know in the comments. Anyway, myself Rahul signing off. I'll see you again. Till then, take care, keep studying good content and consuming great content.